Welcome to r/Maliciouscompliance, where OP has to pee into a cup. Our next Reddit post is from Submarine Radio. So, I'm in the military, and anyone who served knows the sacred ritual of the urinalysis. It's not just peeing in a cup. It's peeing in a cup while being stared at like you're about to commit a felony with your bladder. Normally, the observer stands behind you, gives you space, and just makes sure you're not pulling any shady business. But this time, nah. This guy was new and clearly took direct observation to mean make eye contact with the stream. He tells me, pants and underwear all the way down, shirt up, free hand at your side, no touching anything except the bottle. I need a clear view. I blinked. You want a clear view? He nodded, dead serious. So I complied, maliciously. I dropped everything to my ankles, lifted my shirt like I was flashing Times Square, and stood there like a statue. I made direct eye contact with him the entire time. No blinking, no shame, just pure, unfiltered compliance. He looked uncomfortable. I looked serene. It took me a solid minute to start peeing because, performance anxiety. But I held the pose. I even asked, "Is this clear enough for you, sir?" He said he's only making me do it per the instruction at the command. He kinda just stared at the wall like he regretted every life choice that led him to this moment. After I finished, I pulled everything up, washed my hands, and walked out. My guess is that when most people sign up to the military, they imagine, hurling grenades, driving tanks, not staring at dicks all day. Our next Reddit post is from Darth Winchester. My wife's grandmother passed and left us her home in her will. The house was rather large, but had been built sometime in the 1960s and needed updating. We decided to basically gut the home and do a full remodel. The first thing was to talk to my insurance guy and see what I needed to do with the insurance. He comes out and explains that I need to do a fire policy, which basically will replace the structure in the event of a major catastrophe. Cool. With the insurance in place, I start remodeling. Fast forward 7 or 8 months, and I'm done, and so bone-tired and mad at the world that my reflection in the mirror tried to avoid me. I was working a rotating shift, and spending every waking moment working on this house. 5 hours of sleep a night was the most that I was getting. I would snap at the wind for blowing, I was so strung out. Cue the insurance guy and his antics. While I was sleeping after working midnight shift, my wife has insurance guy come to look at the house and change the policy back to full coverage. When I wake up for my next shift, my wife informs me that we have to put a new roof on before he can change the policy. I almost came unglued. I'd ripped the ceiling out of this house, so if there had been a roof leak, I'm pretty sure I would have found it. Luckily, this was Friday evening, so I had the entire weekend to calm down and plot my next move. I called first thing Monday morning and set up an appointment for 8 a.m. Tuesday at the house. And I explained to him that I was on midnights and to please make sure he was there by 8 a.m. No particular reason. I just hoped that it would discomfort him having to be somewhere else that early in the morning. A dick move mostly. Tuesday morning rolls around and he shows up with his boss. At first, this threw me off, but I figure, what the hell? 2 birds, 1 rock and stuff. I say, "Hey insurance guy, how's it going?" "Pretty good. How are you?" "Tired. How about you show me exactly what's wrong with this roof so we can get going?" "Sure thing. Step right over here. You see that shingle?" "Yeah." "See how bad a shape it's in?" "Sure do." Thinking to myself, hell no, what the hell are you looking at? "And over there, see that place?" "Yep, got a bad spot or two there also," I say. "This roof has taken some serious storm damage. It's in rough shape." We proceed all the way around the house with him pointing at random spots as far as I could tell and saying things like, "That shingle is shot. Those two. Yeah, and right here." The whole time I just agreed with him like, "Yep, you're right." All the while, his boss is saying nothing. After he's finished pointing out all these bad places, he says, "So, see, you'll have to replace this roof before we can cover it." I say, "You're right. I'd been so busy on the inside of the house that I hadn't paid much attention. So, can you file the claim for me, or do I need to go talk to one of those ladies down at the office?" "Claim? What do you mean, claim?" Well, best I can figure, it was those bad storms back in April that did all this damage. And y'all were covering it through my grandmother-in-law's policy, so I reckon y'all would be who I'm supposed to talk to, right? Well, now, hold on. Nah, you're 100% right. It took some serious storm damage, and we ain't had any bad storms since about April. Now, I put the fire policy on in July, so any damage would have fallen back on the old policy. The insurance guy was just standing there sucking air like it's gonna run out. His boss says, "He's right, and since they have a year to file that claim, we'll have to do it. Get the paperwork started and let me know if you need help." I'm no roof expert. The roof could have been shot all to hell for all I know. It looked good and didn't leak. After I explained to the adjuster what the whole deal was about, he found enough other stuff wrong so that I wasn't out one nickel on an entire new roof. So the insurance guy decided to be a jackwagon for some reason, and I got a free roof out of the deal. Our next Reddit post is from Theory Large. At the time, I was working in a toy shop, and it was coming up on Christmas, so you can imagine how busy we were. No, even busier than that. Each worker was given a specific section of the store to keep tidy and stocked. Mine at the time was what we called boys' toys, action figures and so on. However, I was also the only person other than managers who could process refunds, exchanges, and so on. And because boys' toys was right beside the tills and the managers could be anywhere without radios, the cashiers got into the habit of calling me for help. And it being nearly Christmas, there were a lot of exchanges, refunds, and other things needing my intervention. Our store was franchised, and we had a district manager, David, who had never worked the floor a day in his life. He had some kind of business degree. He visited a few weeks before Christmas, came into Boys Toys an hour or so before closing, and got mad because it was messy and there were some gaps in the shelves. He refused to listen to my attempted explanations and stormed off. Next morning, he was right there at opening time. When we had our pre-start meeting where sections were assigned, he interrupted our manager to say, "I'm putting myself with OP today. She clearly doesn't know how to handle the section, so I'm gonna show her what's what." There was an awkward silence for a moment before the manager went on with assignments. I kept perfectly silent. David trailed me to Boys Toys and looked around. "Well, what's first? Or don't you have a plan?" "Well, first oh, sorry, that's the tills calling for help. I'll be back in a minute." I dealt with the tills, returned, got halfway through explaining the first job, and was called away again. By the time I got back, it was 15 minutes into shift, and he hadn't done any work yet. I have to give it to him. He stuck with it all day. I finally managed to show him what we were doing, and he schlepped up to the stockroom and down to the shelves half a dozen times. Tidied the same set of shelves because kids love throwing things all over the floor. Watched as I was called away an average of 5 times an hour. He took his lunch when I did. 10 minutes late because of a refund. He didn't apologize, of course. I was too lowly for that. But the next morning, at the opening meeting, my manager announced that from now on, Boys Toys would have 2 staff as a matter of course, and that the managers would make more of an effort to be more available to the tills. Our next Reddit post is from Scary Expert. I work at a company where I handle mid to high level complaints to managers, PR, and legal. My daily requirement is 40 cases handled per day. There are some of my team colleagues that struggle with this, but I don't, and I don't feel lazy to stop at 40. So I've handled 50 to 55 basically every day for the past 2 years. There's no bonus or even recognition for this. I just did it because I felt a friendly obligation to the company. One complaint can be a 5-minute resolution or a 2-hour Zoom call with our New York lawyers. It's a gamble, really. So recently, I had a day where I felt a bit sick, and at the same time, I had bad luck of getting only very hard cases that requires more time. So I finished 39 cases, which is 1 under the quota. I thought nothing of it, as my weekly average was way off the charts, usually over 50. The very next day, I felt better and went back to my usual high numbers. Come Monday, I had an emergency one-on-one with my manager where I was informed that I had to attend a 3-day workshop/seminar on how to best meet requirements because I underperformed last week. My jaw dropped, and I asked, don't they count the weekly, monthly, yearly numbers, not daily? To which I was told that the daily requirement is 40, and this is a standard practice, nothing we can do. Basically, it was a workshop for underperformers who had 20 to 30 out of 40 cases daily. It was nothing hard, but I did need to drive there for 3 days after work and listen to HR guys giving bad advice, as they never actually handled the cases in real life. And I had to talk about what I would do to improve my numbers and reach the 40, as the nonsense HR talk calls it. This made me lose hours and hours of my free time, and I was livid. After it was over, I had a long think and decided that I'll do exactly that. I'll reach the 40 and that's it. For the past few months, I go into work, I handle 40 cases, which is my daily requirement, and then I do nothing for the rest of my shift. I've had multiple one-on-ones with my manager during this time, and I'm constantly asked, "Is something wrong?" To which I naively reply, "No, am I in trouble? Am I underperforming?" And then, of course, they say that I'm 100% within daily requirements, and that way I shut the conversation down. This is real life, so I can't really say a clever comeback or something like that, but I do keep playing the fool that has no idea what is wrong now. But I find satisfaction in knowing that they got used to my overachieving and they're now suffering for the lack of it. Before Easter, they put up an internal ad for promoting another 2 managers. So my guess is that's the number of people they'll need to pay extra just because they lost me as an overachiever. And they lost me for no other reason than their own stupidity. Our next Reddit post is from Mother Soraka. I work IT support for a medium-sized company. We've always been allowed to have our phones at our desks. Sometimes family emergencies happen, doctors call back, whatever. As long as we weren't scrolling social media all day, nobody cared. The new manager comes in last month, sees one person checking a text, and loses it. Sends out an email, "Effective immediately. No personal phones during work hours. They must be left in your car or locker. This means 9 to 5. No exceptions. Anyone caught with a phone will be written up." Okay, sure, boss. The thing is, our manager works from home 3 days a week, and when server issues pop up after hours or on weekends, guess how he contacts us? That's right, our personal phones. We don't have company phones. Friday afternoon at 4:45 p.m., there's a major server issue. I see it, and I could fix it in 10 minutes, but my phone is in my car as per policy. I calmly finish my work at 5 o'clock and walk out. By the time that I get to my car and check my phone at 5:15, I have 17 missed calls and a string of increasingly panicked texts from my manager. The server's been down for 30 minutes. Multiple departments can't do anything. I call him back. "Hey, I just got to my car and saw your calls. What's up?" He's furious, mauling and seething, asking why I didn't answer. I remind him about the no phones policy. He says that's different. This was an emergency. I point out that his email said no exceptions, and I was just following policy to avoid a write-up. Monday morning, new email. Personal phones are permitted at desks for emergency purposes. Back to normal then. OP, you're a kinder man than me. I would have driven home and talked to him on Monday. After all, it's unsafe driving practices to talk on your phone while driving. That was r/Maliciouscompliance, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.